The pouch is heavier than it looks. Leather, salt-stained, the size of a small loaf. At the bottom, the weight of a fist-sized clay cylinder presses through the hide. The previous courier's hands smell of sweat, grease, and the inside of a horse. He does not speak. He holds the strap until your fingers close. Behind him, his horse breathes in white foam at the edge of the lamplight. This is a Persian royal courier on the royal road of Darius the Great, autumn of 500 BC. By the time the sun sets, he will move this sealed dispatch 25 kilometers across mountain and salt flat. 24 centuries from now, his job description will be carved in marble above a post office in Midtown Manhattan. He is not a messenger. He is infrastructure. Everything you have been told about this day is incomplete. Today, on Decoded by Jack, we decode the real one. In 500 BC, the Achaemenid Persian Empire is the largest political entity the world has ever seen. It stretches from the Indus Valley in the east to the Aegean coast in the west, from the Nile in the south to the steppes of Central Asia in the north. 25 million people live under one king. That king is Darius the First. The artery that holds this empire together is a road. The Royal Road runs 2,700 kilometers from Susa in the southeast to Sardis on the Aegean shore. Along its length, 111 relay stations stand at intervals of roughly 1 day's hard ride. Herodotus counted them station by station in Book 5 of his Histories. A sealed royal dispatch can cross the full length in 7 days. On foot, the same journey takes 90. The Persians have engineered the difference between an empire that can react and an empire that cannot. Imagine the road from above. A thin line of compacted gravel cutting across mountain, river, and plateau. Along it, 111 points of light, each a mud brick station with a stable, a water cistern, and fresh horses standing in their stalls. Now narrow the view, one station, between two mountain ridges and the edge of a salt flat. And at that station, on a cold morning in late autumn, a 24-year-old man is checking the straps on his horse for the third time. The cold finds the gaps first. It enters at the wrists, where the wide sleeves of the wool candies fall back from his hands. It enters at the neck, where the collar gaps when he leans forward. The breath of the horse fogs into the lamplight in long, even plumes. Inside the stable, the smell is dung, dried straw, and the sour grease of saddle leather worked too long without oil. He tightens the girth strap. He checks the bit. He checks the strap on the leather pouch, now fastened diagonally across his chest, under the candies, against the skin. The clay cylinder seal of Darius presses through the hide at his sternum. He can feel the edges of the cuneiform impression even through 2 layers. At a small wooden table by the doorway, the Stathmos sits with his wax tablet open. He is 50 years old. He walks with a limp from a Scythian spear that caught him below the knee 20 years ago. He does not look up. His stylus moves across the wax in short, precise strokes. The courier watches the strokes. He notices, without comment, that the script flows right to left. He does not know the language. He has never asked. The Stathmos finishes a line, presses the dispatch number into the wax, and closes the tablet. In the corner of the room, a low flame burns on a small stone altar. The Stathmos glances at it once, says nothing, and writes nothing about it. Outside, the eastern sky has gone from black to the color of cold iron. The previous courier is asleep on a straw mat in the next room, his boots still on, his right hand open at his side. Somewhere east of here, another dispatch has been moving for 4 days without stopping. It is about to become his problem. He has been riding for 3 hours. The road climbs out of the river valley in long switching grades, and the gravel surface is still firm under the hooves. Somewhere behind him, a maintenance crew of 3 men with iron picks is repairing a section where last winter's flood cut a channel through the road. He passes them without stopping. One of them raises a hand. He nods. Breakfast is one piece of non-barberry, flatbread baked the night before at the relay, eaten cold and one-handed in the saddle. It is dry and grainy and tastes of nothing. He chews it slowly. He swallows a mouthful of water from the leather skin at his hip. The water tastes of the skin. His left hand stays on the reins. His right hand moves twice to the pouch under the candies without thought, the way a man checks for a knife he has carried for years. The cylinder seal is still there. The strap is still tight. At the river ford, the horse stumbles once on a loose stone. He shifts his weight. The animal recovers, and they cross. On the far bank, a junior courier is riding the opposite direction, east, toward the station he left this morning. They pass at a walk. A single nod, no words. The other man is humming. It is a low, steady tune, 3 notes that bend down at the end of each phrase. The courier does not recognize the melody. He does not recognize the language of the syllables under it. He files it away the way he files the script on the Stathmos's wax tablet, something the Empire speaks that he does not. He clicks his tongue. The horse picks up the trot. The salt flat is 2 hours ahead. It is the most exposed stretch of the entire leg, and today, something on the southern horizon is going to make him stop his horse mid-stride. If you made it this far, you are my kind of viewer. Hit subscribe and like the video. So, Decoded by Jack keeps reaching people who care about this stuff. Because in a few minutes, I am going to show you that the most famous sentence ever written about the post office, the one Americans think is about American mail carriers, was actually written about this man by a Greek 24 centuries ago. The salt flat begins without warning. The gravel surface of the road gives way to a crust of white and pale yellow, hard underfoot, brittle at the edges where the horse's hoof breaks through to the damp brine below. The sky is high and pale. There is no shade. There is no cover. The wind comes from the north and carries the smell of mineral and old water. He is 2/3 of the way across when he sees them. 4 mounted figures on the southern horizon. The distance flattens them into dark vertical marks against the white ground. They are moving parallel to his route, west, at a steady pace. He cannot tell who they are. He cannot tell what they are carrying. The light at this hour compresses everything. He pulls the horse to a stop. His standing orders are explicit. If interception is imminent and the dispatch cannot be defended, the seal is to be broken, the document burned, and the ashes scattered. He has carried these orders in his head since the first week of his training. He has never enacted them. His right hand goes to the pouch. The cylinder seal presses against his ribs through the leather, heavier now than it has been all day. The strap bites into the meat of his shoulder where he pulls it tight. He counts seconds. He watches the figures. One of them shifts. Behind the 4 riders, low and small, 4 more shapes resolve out of the haze. Pack animals, loaded high. A merchant caravan moving west on the parallel trade track that runs south of the Royal Road. He releases the breath he did not know he was holding. He does not break the seal. He does not burn the document. He clicks his tongue hard, and the horse moves into a gallop, and he loses 15 minutes that he will not get back before dusk. He reaches the next station an hour later than he should have. The relay master is already standing in the doorway, watching the road. He has been watching for 15 minutes. The handoff happens in the common hall. The new courier is a younger man, lean, already dressed for the ride, his horse saddled in the stable. The relay master takes the pouch first. He examines the cylinder seal under lamplight, looking for any pressure mark, any chip in the clay, any sign the wax has been lifted. The seal is intact. He nods. He logs the dispatch number in his wax tablet in the same right-to-left script as the morning station and hands the pouch to the new courier. 12 minutes after arrival, the new courier is mounted and gone. The protagonist sits on a bench by the hearth. Someone places a wooden bowl in front of him, lentils, dark and warm, with a thumb-sized portion of dried apricot on the side. The heat of the bowl reaches him through his palms before the taste reaches him through his mouth. The lentils taste of cumin and salt and animal fat. The apricot is sweet and tough. The relay master does not look up from his tablet. He asks, in a low voice, what slowed him. The courier says one word, "Surah." "Riders." The master nods once. He writes nothing down. The hearth crackles. Now let me tell you what the textbooks miss about the system he just served. Decoded 1, the USPS motto, is about him. Here is what you have probably been told, if you have been told anything. There is a sentence carved over the entrance of the main post office in Midtown Manhattan. Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. Most Americans assume it was written about American mail carriers. It was not. The sentence is from Herodotus, Book 8 of the Histories, Chapter 98, written around 430 BC. He was describing the Persian Angarayan, the imperial courier service. This man, follow the chain, Greek text, 5th century BC. A 1909 translation by Harvard professor George Herbert Palmer. A 1914 inscription on the James A. Farley Post Office in New York. The United States Postal Service quietly adopted a 2,400-year-old description of Achaemenid couriers as its motto. That is not a fun fact. That is a chain of custody. Decoded 2, 2 centuries before the Appian Way. When you picture ancient road infrastructure, you picture Rome, stone-paved highways, milestones, legions on the march. That picture is 200 years too late. The Royal Road was finished under Darius around 500 BC. 2,700 kilometers, 111 relay stations, engineered river crossings, maintained surfaces, and a courier service that could move a sealed document from the Aegean coast to the Persian heartland in 7 days. The same journey on foot took 90. The first Roman highway, the Appian Way, was built in 312 BC, roughly 2 centuries later. The Roman cursus publicus, the imperial postal system the Romans were so proud of, was explicitly modeled on the Persian one. The Romans copied it, expanded it, and got the credit. The road this courier rode today was the original, earlier, longer, and it worked. Decoded 3, the empire ran in Aramaic. Here is the assumption almost everyone makes about empires. The conqueror imposes his language. The Romans gave the Mediterranean Latin. The British gave India English. The Persian Empire, the assumption goes, gave its subjects Persian. It did not. The administrative language of the Achaemenid Empire from Egypt to Bactria was Imperial Aramaic, a Semitic language originally spoken in the western provinces by people the Persians had conquered. Old Persian existed, but it was ceremonial, carved into cliff faces and royal tombs. Day to day, the empire ran in Aramaic. Tax records, military orders, postal dispatches, court correspondence. We know this from the Bactrian Aramaic documents published by Shaul Shaked, from the Elephantine papyri in Egypt, from Joseph Nava's work on the alphabet. The evidence is consistent across 2,000 kilometers of empire. This is why the Stathmos wrote right to left in his wax tablet in a script the courier could not read. This is why the junior courier at the river ford was humming in a language the protagonist did not speak. The dispatch sealed against his chest all day was almost certainly written in it. That is not weakness. That is not tolerance. That is administrative pragmatism at imperial scale. The Persians did not need their subjects to speak Persian. They needed the paperwork to move. Back to the relay station. The hearth has burned low. The courier is asleep on a straw mat in the barracks, his boots off, his wool candies folded under his head as a pillow. His breathing is slow and even. His right hand rests, without thought, on the empty leather pouch he carried in this morning. The strap is loose. The flap is open. The red clay cylinder seal is still pressed into the leather, a faint impression of Darius the Great, cooling now. The new pouch is already 25 kilometers west, in another man's hand. 24 centuries from now, his name will be lost. The dispatch he carried today will have crumbled into dust in a Sardis archive. The empire he served will be broken first by a Macedonian boy, and then by time itself. The Royal Road will become a track, then a memory, then a line on a scholar's map. But the words a Greek wrote about him, neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor darkness of night, will be cut into marble in a country that does not yet exist, above a post office that handles the mail of a city he could not have imagined. That is the trade he made, without ever knowing he made it. The hearth crackles once, the seal cools in the dark.